media, all it takes nowadays to spark up an online fight is to merely have an opinion. One opinion will cause many to spiral into a pit hole of anger where no one dialogues, only insults the person who has the unpopular or even the popular opinion regarding the latest trends in comic books, movies, or pulp culture. It makes sense given the circumstance. After all, acting tough behind the protective wall of the black mirror we all own and use on a daily basis makes it easy for anyone to jump right into a tirade of insults and threats. Again, just for having an opinion that they may disagree with. I decided to go against that notion. I've decided to start a video series where we discuss the hot topic issues within the comic book industry and pulp culture and provide you with another perspective. One of logic, reason, with just plain old dialogue between two people who have different opinions. My co-host and I will discuss the pulp culture topics at hand in a fun, engaging, and respectable manner. So, without further ado, let's talk about it.
It was an ordinary night during an ordinary jog when Matt Guerra stepped into his destiny. Using his Jeet Kune Do, Matt teaches would-be violators that the cost of crime is too high for them to afford. But little does Matt know, his act of bravery has run afoul of Los Valientes, Orange County's most notorious street gang. The head of Los Valientes, the mysterious dreamer, decides to make an example out of Matt. And amidst a brutal game of tit for tat, where anyone could get caught in the crossfire, Matt Guerra must bring an end to Los Valientes' wave of crime before his loved ones pay the ultimate price for his heroism. Matt Guerra is the Ghetto Dragon.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Let's Talk About It. I'm your host, Julius Freeman, and with me is ever the smartass
Kyle. I don't even think that this person here is actually, Julius, because it doesn't look like him at all. I mean, this looks like Milhouse from The Simpsons.
Yes. Everything's coming up Milhouse. But yeah. I shaved my beard and mustache because my daughter, she's gonna turn 5 soon, and one day, she's like, I want to see you without the mustache. I want to see what you look like. And I was like, all right, I don't mind shaving it off. It's not like I have to have a mustache and a goatee in order to complete myself.
Mm-hmm.
So when she asked me, I was like, all right, I'll shave it. So when I got home from work that day, I grabbed my clipper, my hair clippers, and told her, do you want to see Daddy shave it all off? And she's like, yeah. She sat down on the floor, and I started shaving it off, and got my razor and shaved it, and boom, voila.
You're Rick Moranis from Ghostbusters.
Yeah, that's a compliment. That's a compliment, Kyle.
Okay.
I like that. I don't mind that. So,
well, I mean, in the movie he got with Sigourney Weaver, so
he did, but it was not out of their own will.
Yeah.
They were possessed. They were possessed by demonic entities.
Yeah, but I don't
looking
think
for
his mind,
looking for the Keymaster, right? Was it the Keymaster?
Yeah, and the Gatekeeper. But
Gatekeeper,
I bet that in his mind, I'm sure he counts that as a win.
Zool. You were looking for Zool.
Yeah.
How you doing, Kyle? How you doing?
Pretty good.
I would like to let everyone know that Kyle got really mad at me earlier.
I did.
At work because of an opinion I had about, because we were talking about what's the name of that movie? Madam Web. Now, of course, Madam Web is nothing more than the dumpster fire, from what I've read. It's not doing well at the box office currently, and a lot of people are panning it and crapping on it. And I'm gonna go on the limb and say rightfully so, but I can't really make that judgment because I have not seen the film, so I don't know how bad it is. I only am taking them at the word of the people who've seen it and on Twitter and social media and what have you.
People
And
are saying that it's as bad or worse than like Morbius.
that's what I heard. I heard it was really it was like way worse than Morbius. Oh, look at that.
Wow.
Krager, backer number 1. Too clean without the beard, Julius. I can't say, but hope it goes well. Have a fun stream. Thank you, Krager. My goodness gracious. I appreciate
Wow.
Krager, the first backer of Reset Protocol, which I will talk about in a minute. What's up, Oli?
What's up?
So wow, yeah, thank you, Krager. That brings joy to my heart, knowing
Yeah.
that you backed Reset Protocol. But yeah, as we were talking about Madam Web, yeah, apparently it's really bad, but again, I don't care. I don't ever intend on watching the movie. I never intended to watch the movie to begin with.
Right.
This doesn't make
Me
sense
either.
that you would have a character like Madam Web and no Spider-Man.
Well,
Just
that's
doesn't
what
make
I
no
was
sense.
wondering. Like, that's what we talked about. It's like, well, first off, you're Sony, and the only property that you have or license that you have is Spider-Man, and you have
Yeah,
access to all the Spider. Maybe not the Tom Holland Spider-Man that's with
right.
Disney, but you have Andrew Garfield, Toby, Mail. You have all the animation. You have access to Spider-Man. Spider-Man is like one of the most, if not the most popular superhero ever, and especially now where he's like always popular. And you don't make Spider-Man movies, you make all these other side character movies. You don't make Spider-Man movies. It's just it's baffling to me.
You know what I think? I think maybe when they cut the deal with Disney for the Civil War, to have Spider-Man in Civil War, maybe that was part of the deal. The part of the deal was we get to use Spider-Man in movies, but you can't use Spider-Man in single, like in I guess solo movies.
What about Spider-Verse?
That's animated though.
Okay, but it's still
That's not
Spider-Man.
live, but it's not live action. Maybe the agreement was live action. I don't know. I'm speculating. I have no idea what the deal is with Sony and Disney. So I'm just speculating as to why they went with like Morbius, Craven, and now Madam Web, and of course Carnage and did I mention Venom already?
No, Venom and
Okay, so Venom and Carnage. So five characters from the Spider Universe or Marvel Universe.
Yeah,
Five characters from the
but
Spider-Man's
Rogues
Rogues
Gallery.
Gallery. Yeah, and no Spider-Man in any of those movies.
There are
It's
hints of
mind-boggling.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, mind-boggling. But going back to the reason why I brought up why Kyle got mad at me is because I'm sure a lot of you have seen videos of the actors who play Madam Web,
Dakota Johnson.
Dakota Johnson. There's been a few videos of her kind of just like a deer in the headlights situation where she was asked all these questions about the comics, if she read any of the comics or knew anything about the comics, and she's like, the smile on her face, like,
Nope.
no, I never read the comics,
Yeah, you don't
and
need to know anything about watching this movie.
and so what I told Kyle, I was like, well, so what? That's not her job. And Kyle got really mad when I said that, didn't you?
Well,
Kyle?
I say, look, from the perspective of like, you're going to be playing a character. You would think, especially somebody at least a character that's going to be as big. I mean, like it's some, uh, Spider-Man character. You would feel that like the actor would have at least maybe some cliff notes or some sort of something about the character that they're going to be portraying, so that they
She
can.
did. She did. She got him from the screenwriter and the director.
Yeah, well, they didn't give her much.
Well, that's not her fault.
It's,
That's not her fault. And you know what? Honestly, like her not knowing about the comics, that's her publicist's fault. Her publicist should have given her bullet points. Okay, here's the bullet points. Here's who Madam Web is. Here's a little bit of like encyclopedic knowledge of the comic book lore. So that way, if you get asked questions, you have the answers. See,
well,
Oli
yeah,
agrees with
I
me,
believe
Kyle.
that.
See, look, Haha, yup. It's not their job. It'll be awesome if they do,
Oh,
but it's not part of it. Exactly, Oli. And that's what I told Kyle. I said, look, Ryan Reynolds and Henry Cavill are unicorns. They know the lore. They read the comics. They know, they purposely try to get the roles that they know they could kill it because they love the character. But those are unicorns. The rest of the actors, they don't know. They don't care. Like, Wolverine, like Hugh Jackman had no idea who Wolverine was until more than likely he read the script and Bryan Singer told him, well, Wolverine is kind of like this guy. And then it just clicked for Hugh Jackman as an actor, because Hugh Jackman is a professional. He understands acting. John Berthel did do his research. He went to a local shop. Yeah, again, a unicorn.
They're not.
He went out of his way.
They're not necessarily unicorns. Look. There's plenty of examples where actors do research and figure out their characters.
Yeah, right.
And
but
that's
you have to remember,
you feel like that would be a good process for actors.
Yes, but it's not their job, Kyle. It's not their job. And then plus, this is
an actor. They should understand what they're trying to figure out what the character is.
Yeah, from
especially
the screenwriter.
if it's an established character. If it's an established character that does have a fan base and a lore and stuff like that, they should at least have some knowledge of what the character is.
Look what Oli said. Even the shop owner curated the selection of trades he bought.
Yeah.
So not and here's another thing you have to take into account. This is pre Disney, right? This is when Netflix had the license to produce that show. So the creators of that show more than likely told John Bernthal, I don't know, Bernthal to research. They probably told him, you know what? Here's some books. Go to the shops, buy some Punisher books, so that way you get a foundation of the character. But try not to. We're not gonna do everything that you read in the comics. Here's what we're doing. But just if you want to get the character down, this is what you need to know, and that's that.
And that's fine. I'm fine with that. But it seems like now that's less and less, where more actors don't have that. Where it seems like
it's not their fault though.
Well,
and it's not their job.
They should at least, because I mean, if I understand if it's a character that like nobody has, like it's never been like created before or something like that, where you're inventing the character as you're doing it. But if there's already an established version of that character and you're going to be portraying that character that has a fan base and that is very vocal about what movies and especially comic book movies are going to be like, I feel that they should at least have some knowledge of what the character is.
Okay, I can agree with that, but it's still not their job. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's not entirely their fault. It's not Dakota Johnson's fault that she didn't know anything about Madam Web and how how much of an old lady she was or she is in the comics. And saying things like, "Oh, I like that she's very spicy and like cool looking and what have you." But it's not exactly, Oli. Exactly, it's another gig to them. They're just hired to play the role.
You would feel that they at least would try to put some pride in their work and maybe try to do something that would please the audience and stuff like that. You would hope that
she probably did.
But she didn't even know who the character was.
At the direction of the director, Kyle. She was following the script.
So you're saying, basically your argument is that the actors and stuff don't have any like free will. It only is wholly dependent upon the director and the writer.
Yes.
They have no agency whatsoever.
Oh, look, you got Chris agreeing with you. Chris H agreeing with Kyle.
Yeah, see?
No. They, of course, look, Kyle. Of course, they have free will. No, I'm not saying they don't have free will. I'm just telling you, it's not their job. It's not their job to learn the lore of the characters they're playing.
I'm not.
That's
saying
the job of the writer. The writer is the one who's supposed to do that.
That's true. I'm not saying they're not.
The writer is supposed to do that, and then the director is supposed to filter that to the actor. So it's not the actor; it's the writer and the director, and in a lot of ways as well, the producer as well.
Yes,
they are hard monkeys. There you go. Chris says real actors do. You know what, Chris? I agree with you there. Real actors do research. You're absolutely right. Movie stars don't.
That's what I'm trying to get at. It's like you're basically just saying that these actors, they don't need to do it because they're just puppets that have to do it. If our real actors that want to do it, are excited about it, would be more inclined to go out and do the research for it so that they could give the
Right,
best
right.
possible
That's what you
performance.
call exceptional employees, right? The
Well,
employees who go
yeah.
above and beyond. But not everyone's like that, Kyle. But at the same time, they're not in what do you call it? What's the word I'm looking for? Um, it's not mandatory for them to do that.
Okay,
That's
it's
my
not mandatory, but
that's
it's
my opinion on the matter.
heavily. It's not sure. It's not mandatory, but it's heavily recommended. It should be at least. I mean, I mean, let's see. Yeah, look at One Piece. Everybody on is in board with reading the manga. They were fans, and that's true. Everybody, the
Yeah,
ones that are
they were
fans.
fans,
You look
and
at
that's
like
why it
Henry
worked.
Cavill and stuff that are fans of these characters and stuff like that. That will then be shown in the stuff that they perform because they
Right,
are
but see, not
in.
look. You bring up Henry Cavill, great example. He did The Witcher, right? He came in there knowing full well who this character was. He read the books. He was a fan of the books. He played the video games, fan of the video game, right? Went into the
Yeah.
set and said, wait, hold on. This is not what the character does. And what happened was the director and the producers and the writer says, that's not the direction we're going. We're going to take it to this direction. And what did Henry Cavill do? He followed the direction because he's an actor. He has no power or no sway as to how to move the direction of a property that
Well,
other people are in charge of.
then that's good on him. That's bad on the directors.
No, it
That's
is
showing
because the
how.
show the show suffered for it. The show suffered for it because they lost Henry
Yeah.
Cavill. They lost him.
Well, and that's the reason why all the fans and stuff flock to him because they more care about him and his,
Yeah,
love for the stuff rather than the actual direction of what the creators were doing.
exactly. And you know what? Good on him too. He left, but I'm just telling you the reality of who is in charge of making sure that the characters are portrayed as close as possible to what readers are accustomed to in the comic books. It's the actor's job, of course, the actor is doing the research, fantastic. But if the director has a different direction, if the director has a different vision, it doesn't matter how much research the actor does, because he can't fit the to what's the, who is this baby face guy? It's me, Tone.
Yeah.
It's me.
For once, I'm not the young guy here.
I know, right? No, so that was my point. My point is that as much as I do respect Ryan Reynolds and Henry Cavill and now John Berth. I can never fucking pronounce.
Yeah, you
that
can't
name.
pronounce that name.
Yeah, whatever. The guy who played Punisher. Kudos to them. I have more respect for them for doing that. But at the end of the day, it does fall upon the director and the screenwriter and the producer of these movies to make sure all that lore gets put into the movie. And the fact is, a lot of these Hollywood types don't care. They
Well,
don't
that's the
care.
problem. They should care.
I know, Kyle. I know they should care. I don't. Don't yell at me.
Yeah.
I'm just
But
I'm just telling you the reality of it.
So say in this scenario, say Dakota Johnson did read the comics and was like a super fan of Madam Web and stuff like that. Wouldn't her being a super fan somewhat go like with what Henry Cavill did and going to the directors and saying, well, this isn't exactly what the character should be and stuff like that. Maybe we should do it this way. You think that would have any sway or anything in that of what the directors would have done?
Maybe, but no, not a movie at that level, at that budget. Hey, what's up, Edwin?
Hey,
No, they get maybe a little bit, but not entirely because there's so much at stake in a movie budget at that scale. A movie at that scale, there's so many moving parts. There's so much money at stake. They can't risk trying things out. They can't risk going down a certain pathway if they don't feel that the mainstream audience, I'm talking about people who don't read comic books. Okay, that's who Hollywood targets. It's the mainstream audience. So they understand that there is a fan base, but they don't feel like it's enough to cover the money they're pumping into the movie. Remember, it's
And
all about making
why
your
would
money
they
back.
make the movie about comic books if they didn't think that anybody would show up? I mean, that's
Because
kind of a stupid argument though, because you saw that, how well Endgame and all that stuff made billions of dollars. The Dark Knight stuff made billions of dollars. The fan base is there. These studios and stuff, they know that there's fans there.
Christopher Nolan at that point was a product household name. And so those movies were going to make money no matter what. And plus Batman it's a plus because people love Batman. And you know what, Kyle, you also have to remember there are Batman fans who've never read a single issue of Batman. They only love Batman because of Tim Burton's movies, because of the animated show, because of Christopher Nolan's first movie. And there's a lot. I'm willing to bet there's a lot of movie-going audience members who love the Dark Knight trilogy, Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy, and they never stepped into a foot of a comic book shop, not once. So you have to keep that in mind, Kyle.
But they still know their comic book movies.
Of course they do, but the producer doesn't know that, and or quite frankly, they don't care. They don't care. Benjamin Soto says they just want to check. Yeah, most actors do just want to check. That is true. But going back to the Dakota Johnson, like I thought, even though the videos were funny, I'm not denying that they were pretty funny.
Yeah,
but it really is
like,
not her job.
It's a sad funny. It's it's not like it's.
No, it's funny. It's funny. People who make that kind of money, I don't feel bad for. Because she's gonna move on to another movie, and who knows, she might win the Academy Award in her next movie, for all we know, and regain her status as a great actress. Because apparently she's pretty good. I've never seen a movie of hers, so I don't know how good she is. But obviously she's a big enough star to star in a movie like this, so that tells me she has some acting chops at least. So for her, it was probably just a paycheck, a comic book movie paycheck. Great, more exposure. And maybe the next movie she makes, it's a movie she wants.
Then they got what they deserve. I mean, if they're putting low effort into what they're making, they're going to get low effort return.
But that's why I'm telling you, it's not sad for me. It's just funny. But at the same time, it's not her job to know. Her mom is Melanie Griffith. That's her. Melanie Griffith. And Don Johnson from Miami Vice. Her dad.
I don't know. I still can't get. I mean, like but like what we're talking about, with when Christopher Nolan hires Cillian Murphy to play Oppenheimer, he would do research in figuring out who Oppenheimer is in order to play that movie. Yeah, the movie takes some creative liberties, but
Kyle, come on, man, come on. Oppenheimer is a historic figure. It's a real person. Madam Web is fictional, dude.
So
fictional.
It still has a fan base, and it's history. It is a comic book that happened.
It's a fictional comic book. Oppenheimer is freaking a real historical figure.
I'm using that as an example. But still.
See, look, even Dionysius agrees with me. Oppenheimer isn't
I'm talking about, like, not talking about specifically, like, I'm talking about Cillian Murphy doing research for Oppenheimer.
Yeah, right. But see, Cillian Murphy is in a serious Christopher Nolan movie.
Well,
Dakota Johnson is in a comic book fictional movie, Kyle. Those are two different things. Those aren't the same thing.
I'm talking about the actors that should be able to do the research and stuff for the character that they're playing.
I get that, but Christopher Nolan more than likely told Cillian Murphy, "Look, you're playing a historical figure, so I recommend you read this book, and here's a few films that you could watch, so you could get his mannerisms down, his speech pattern, all the works." But that's a biographical film, a serious film at that is based on real events. This is a comic book movie about multiple dimensions, Kyle. Come on, man. So? It's not the same. It's not the same. Oppenheimer. Never heard of him and don't care. I'll do my version. Oh, gosh. But not the same, Kyle. Not the same.
Okay, but I'm not talking about specifically that. I'm just talking about the fact that the character should that the
It's
actor
a
should do
nice cherry
research
on
on the
top. I'll
character.
give you that. It's a nice cherry on top for actors to take their roles a little seriously. That's why Heath Ledger got the Academy Award, because even though he was playing a fictional villain in Joker, he took it serious and researched
Well,
not
yeah,
only, but he didn't research just the comic books. He researched
yeah.
psychopaths. He researched all the psychology of what a psychopath is, and
Which
it was one of the best. It's really truly one of the best performances in modern cinema, in my opinion.
exactly, it shows he did research.
Yeah, but see, Christopher Nolan, which is what Ray Ramos from 656 Comics always hates, because he hates those movies. And I asked him one day why he hates those movies so much, and it's because he said it's too grounded. Too grounded. But I didn't care. I don't, because I'm a fan of Christopher Nolan, so I don't care. But let's see, what's Dionysius. Look, to Kyle's point, Nolan and his crew have reverence for whatever they do. Exactly. They do.
Yeah.
Be it comic or bio, the Madam Web crew are Sony chumps, bro. They didn't even care enough to have Spider-Man in a Spider-Man movie. Yes, well said.
That's
Well said,
true.
Dionysius.
Yes,
Yes,
I
it's true.
mean, I understand. Yeah, that's definitely true. And I'm not saying that the directors and the writers and stuff are getting off scotch free here. They should also be the ones who are the ones that most should know the source material and all this stuff.
Agreed.
At least have some knowledge of it.
Agreed. No, of course.
But yeah, if to your point though, if it did come down to just whether or not the writers or the directors and stuff should know, or the actors, okay, obviously the directors and the writers should know more. Obviously, I'm
Yeah,
just saying
they're
that
the
it will help the actors. It should also help the actors in figuring out what they want to do for the character. Because like if you're going in it blind and stuff like that, you feel like if I'm gonna be playing, I don't know, Iron Man or something like that. I haven't read a whole lot of Iron Man books, so I don't necessarily know how he has, taken the fact that all the movies and stuff. But just say, I don't know, whatever character it is, for me, I would want to know and read that character so that I can give the best performance I can for the movie.
You think Robert Downey Jr. read Iron Man books?
Well,
He didn't. He didn't. Because he had the writer and he had a director explain to him who Tony Stark is, and he's just a damn good actor. It just clicked for him. He didn't read no Iron Man comics. Not one. Not one.
Know?
Huh?
How do you know though? You're not Robert Downey Jr. though. You don't know that. You wouldn't have thought that Jon Favreau wouldn't have handed him an Iron Man book.
They would have pronounced it. Jon Favreau read Iron Man books. I know that for a fact.
Yeah,
not Robert Downey Jr.
You think that in the writing room when he's hiring people or on set that he didn't hand them an Iron Man book to read?
I'm gonna say no.
Well, you don't know that.
Well, based on the behind the scenes featurettes that I've seen over the years, I have not ever seen the video where he says I read a certain specific Iron Man book that helped me shape the character. No, not one. I saw clips of Jon Favreau saying he was a big fan of Iron Man and always wanted to bring it to the big screen, and he got a chance to do it. But I never seen, not once, Robert Downey Jr. claim to ever read or researched the character, because he had a good writer and director to explain to him who he was playing. So once again, it's not the actor's job to research. You don't have to. It's not. It's just extra at that point. I think more. Dionysius says, I think it's more important for the writers to understand and at least read some of the comic lore. The newest MCU schlubs pride themselves on that. Yeah, no, of course, and it shows. It really does show for sure. I think Joe Rogan, he mentioned about Demon in the Bottle, but I don't remember if you read that issue. That's right. Yes. That's right. He was on Joe Rogan's podcast, and I remember he did mention that, but he didn't.
There you go.
But he didn't say he read it.
Okay, but at least he had some knowledge of what the character was. I'm sure.
Oh wow, minuscule knowledge, Kyle. Come on, man. Come on. Well, whatever the case, the fact is, Madam Web.
That's also
bombed because like Dionysius says, The MCU schlubs pride themselves on not reading the lore, and it shows. And that's the key. It shows. It shows they don't care. They never will care unless the higher ups decide to start to change the course. But it looks like they're not. So the more they do.
we are already going at each other,
dude.
today.
we're going at it earlier.
This is a
about
continuation.
This. It's a continuation of it. Yeah, it shows, and the movies will continue to suffer because of it. And you're gonna have a few people who are gonna like it, maybe ironically, or maybe genuinely, for all I know. But the fact is, Hollywood movies have always survived on mass appeal. They've always that's been their go-to whenever they want to continue on expanding and staying in business, keeping the lights on, and product trust, right, with the public. We produce quality stuff, and that's always going to lead to moviegoers to flock to continue watching their product. But now it's suffered because you have a bunch of writers who seriously do not care about the lore, and it really does show. And again, it's their business, right? They own the rights to the IPs. Those corporations do whatever they want, which is why I stopped watching a long time ago. After Endgame, I was like, this is it. This is never going to get as good as this, because a new generation of writers were going to come in, and depending on how the TV shows did, because that's what I was looking at the most. I was looking at those TV shows, the WandaVision, the Winter Soldier and Falcon. Those were for me, the indicators of like, okay, can they do it again? And I watched a few of those episodes, and I went, nope, they're not going to do it again, because I can see clearly that they don't care about the lore. They only want to do what they want to do. And that's fine. It's not for me, so I'm going to stop watching, which is what I did.
That's why you get a lot of these, when they do TV shows and stuff like that.
Look, backer number 3. Hey. And I haven't even marketed it yet. I haven't even promoted it yet. This is crazy.
Well, you've been promoting it this whole time. Anyway, but like that's why you get a lot of this time, a lot of the times where like these creatives and
it's all good, Freddie. We're not.
Where you get a lot of these creators that are the original creators of these pieces and stuff like that, leaving for creative differences because they don't want to listen.
Yeah, no, me too, for sure. Me too. Dionysus says tapped out and stopped after Winter Soldier. They really effed that S up. I'm backing at some point, brother. Oh, thank you, man. Appreciate that.
Cool.
But yeah, it's just one of those things where it's not hard. You Disney, when they bought the Marvel comics for $4 billion, they could have easily made triple that back easily on the TV shows and movies and what have you. And they did for a while. They actually did, because that first few phases of the MCU were phenomenal. Well done all around. A little watered down, but hey, again, they're targeting mass appeal. They wanted mass appeal. So it was like a perfect
except for Thor: The Dark World.
Well, I mean, I like Dark World. I know Dark World's not really everyone's favorite, but when I watched, I was like, hey, it wasn't that bad. I mean, come on.
I like Iron Man 2. I know everybody hates Iron Man 2. I like Iron Man 2.
Iron Man 2 was good too. It's just that I think at that point, that was when the whole shared universe was starting to take hold.
Yeah.
And Favreau, I don't think understood what they were trying to do, and they're meddling too much with his production.
Well, and then because I also watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as well, the ABC show, and they were also trying to do the shared universe thing as well, and it didn't really work out so well because they like started their show right around Winter Soldier, so they only went through like half of their season before Winter Soldier came out, but the thing is, the directors and everybody for Winter Soldier didn't tell everybody from the TV shows what's going to happen. So in the movie, Hydra comes and destroys S.H.I.E.L.D. and stuff like that. So then they kind of just had to like shift gears halfway through and just say, oh yeah, well, Hydra's been here.
Yeah, see, and that's another thing. Since it was so I remember I could recall when I think it was Winter Soldier. I was working at some other job, and I remember all my coworkers were stoked. They're like, "Man, Winter Soldier's so great! Like, I can't wait to see what's going to happen with the Marvel universe." And I knew because I was a comic book fan. I was like, "Dude," and I told them, "Dude, they're going to do Avengers. Eventually, they're going to do crossovers of all these characters, and they're gonna do something huge."
Mhm.
And they were like, "Well, how do you know?" I said, "Because that's how comic books work. The reason why comic books have survived for so long is because readers loved, not so much now, but back then they loved crossover events. They were fun. They were fun
Yeah.
to go to the shop. You get X-Men number 345, right? And then something little minuscule will happen in the scene in that issue, and it will say, read, Iron Man number 72, and you go have to get Iron Man so you can connect all the pieces of the puzzle. So when you do have your crossover event, you have the context of all that stuff, which was great.
Or
And
you
it
have
was
like
fun back then too, because the comic books were affordable and more accessible financially to a lot more
yeah.
people back then.
That's a
And
whole
so
different topic.
so I knew it was going to happen that way, and it was new to all these the regular movie going audience who were my coworkers who they never read comic books, not once they read comic books, but just like the movies. And it was fun for them to be like, wow, it's so cool that they have Iron Man and Captain America movie. That's so rad. I was like, yeah. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah. You wait until you get the fourth and fifth movie, see how cooler that is. And so I think now, and also going back to your point about the Shield show, clashing with the Winter Soldier, that was when everything was still kind of new and they didn't really know how to communicate. Because
Well, yeah.
for those of you who don't know about Hollywood, the TV industry and the movie industry have always bumped heads. They don't like each other. It's like a uneasy, alliance of sorts in a lot of ways. So a lot of the movie
Because they're both
people, yeah, they
entertainment,
they they see TV people as a low tier, like, oh, you're beneath me because I make movies, right? And
which is
you do
funny though.
TV. And
Which is
now it's
funny
probably
though.
different. Yeah, now
Yeah.
it's probably different because now they're all under one umbrella. So, but back then I could see how they were like, we're not going to tell those people that because we're doing better. We're doing much more important things with our movies than the Ricky Dink little TV show over here on ABC. So yeah, it's just one of those things. Back in number 5. Hey, thanks,
Yeah.
Ben. Appreciate that. Chris H says should make a Hulk No Way Home. Ed Norton, Eric Bana, and Mark Ruffalo. Hey, that'd be pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind that. Wouldn't mind that a bit. So, okay, well, I mean, I think we pretty much covered everything. I say it's not the actor's job. You say it should be
I feel okay.
potato potato.
If anything, it would only help the actor. I feel like if they knew at least
I agree
something.
with that. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. It would, but again, it always boils down to whether or not the director wants to take it there. And the
Yeah.
reason why Cavill left Witcher or got fired or whatever it was, it's because he wanted to take it the way it was that the fans and him wanted to take it, which it should have gone. If they wanted to, appease the fans. But the director and the writers and the producers of the show, no, we're going to take it this way, and we don't care about your opinion. And there you have it. Now you have Liam Hemsworth playing the role because more than likely he's a yes man.
Yeah.
And he's going to do whatever the producers want him to do. And hey, that's just the nature of the game,
Yeah.
So for those of you who are tired of corporate meddling in creative endeavors, why don't you guys take a closer look at the indie scene?
Oh.
There's a lot of things going on in the indie scene. There's no corporate meddling. It's all pure, like, Adam West and The Simpsons, pure West, right? It's pure indie. So why don't you back an indie book? Well, where do we go? We disappeared. So right now, Reset Protocol is live on Kickstarter.
Wow.
Yeah. Live on Kickstarter.
Finally,
right? So, But before we go, let's see. Benjamin Soto says reading comics is not required of the actors, but I think it shows the level of commitment to the role and to the fans. Yes, yes. There you go.
Yeah,
So you have a
I
fan.
definitely think so.
You have a fan now, Kyle.
Thank you, Ben. I have few
But
people on my side.
yeah, no,
There
no.
was a
Hey, you prove good points. I'm not gonna take that away from you. You prove good
yeah,
points. You're right. You know, an actor who goes above and beyond does get a lot more respect from the fans, and
yeah.
that's always a good. You don't. That's always a good thing for an actor to have fans on your side. So
You would hope so.
I have no agree to disagree at this point.
Fine.
But
Cop out.
yeah, going back, Research Protocol is now live. This is a sci-fi parable story about a cosmic voyager who arrives into an advanced civilization that is nominated for a seat in the Galactic Federation. And the Seeker is the name of this cosmic voyager, and he requests one thing from the inhabitants of this advanced civilization, that is total transparency for one day.
Only
And
one day.
so as he's
Only one day.
only one day. That's all he needs. One day. One full, complete 24-hour day. And as he's being paraded around this glorious nation, he starts getting visions of these horrendous things that are happening in within the planet. As you can tell, it's oppression, destruction, murder, torture. It won't leave his mind. They keep entering his mind, and these visions indirectly lead him to discovering this dark secret that they're trying to hide from him. And he is captured and imprisoned and tormented. And once he's tormented and discovers the whole truth of the matter, he has no other choice but to activate what is known as the reset protocol. Now, what is the reset protocol? You're gonna have to read and find out what that is.
Man.
But the story was written by Moa, and it was drawn by Andre Araujo. I gotta ask him how I pronounce his name.
You don't even know
His
your
last
own
name.
artist's name?
Araujo. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's drawn by Araujo. We produced this book. Yeah, a little over 10 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's a long time.
Long time ago, but the artwork still looks pristine, still looks great, still holds up. And the story, I'll admit, had some problems. I ain't gonna beat around the bush. And so I originally released this book in Comixology.
He didn't have me there to point. He didn't have me there to point out all the holes.
Yeah. I didn't have you, Kyle, to let people know if it was worth the pickup or not, and pick nitpick all the story inconsistencies. But yeah, I wrote this a little over 10 years ago, and I was fairly new. I had just started writing comics. Seriously, I was still kind of toying around with some stuff, but this is my first serious complete book that I was able to complete from beginning to end. I have released this book in Comixology, and then when Comixology went down, obviously the book's no longer available on Comixology, and I reread what I wrote, and I thought, as not as crappy as the story is that I wrote, and what I mean by that, I mean delivery. I mean the delivery of the story. It didn't really land when I reread it again. But then when I started looking at certain pages, certain sequences, I said, you know what? If I could tweak this here, tweak that there, move this around here, I could have a solid story. And so, and on top of that, I wanted to do a print run. And this is the reason why I'm using Kickstarter to essentially help me do a print run, so you guys can have a copy of this glorious 50-page one shot. It's a one shot deal. It's not a series that's going to continue on. It's one story, one and done. And it's a love letter to the European sci-fi comic book scene that I was really into at the time. So about
like Miracle Man and stuff like that?
No, more like Mobius, John Mobius Gerard. And a lot of the European comic books that are produced in Spain and in Britain. mainly, and also France. France was really big in the sci-fi genre when it comes to comic books. And at that time, I was really heavily into John Mobius Gerard. He was a very famous um, French uh, comic book artist who did phenomenal work in books like The Airtight Garage, Adina, and on. It goes with his bibliography. And this is exactly so when I wrote this story, I had his artwork in mind when I was writing the story. I was like, if I could have someone who can draw like Mobius or close to Mobius for the story that I want to tell, it'd be perfect. And lo and behold, I came across Andre's work, and I thought Andre's work was absolutely like stunning, and it looked absolutely really close to Mobius, which was wild that I was able to find someone like him. Looks great. Thank you, Dionysius. It's really I was really lucky to get Andre on board with this story, and so you can see here these are his
What I
inks.
what I really like about it and his artwork is it really gives you a sense of scale. It really shows
It
you
does, yes,
how like large these structures are and how vast and expansive this world is.
yes, absolutely. 100. I 100% agree, and that's the reason why I was ecstatic that he agreed to produce this project because it's the perfect the perfect marriage, I guess you could say. And once this is the first piece he gave me to kind of I don't want to say try out, but I wanted to
Proof of
see,
concept.
yeah, like a proof of concept. He said, okay, well, what do you have in mind? I said, okay, here's what I'm thinking. And I pitched him the idea. I wrote this little 2 sentence description, and he gave me this, and I was like, wow, brilliant,
It's like,
brilliant.
something like this.
Yeah. And I was like, oh my god, yeah, that's
It's
exactly what I'm looking for,
like
and
asking it's like asking Picasso or something like that, or something like that, paint you a portrait, and they're like, oh, something like this, and
yeah. Right.
or Leonardo da
Look at
Vinci,
that.
and draw a smiling woman. And it's like, okay, there's the
Yeah,
Mona
exactly. And it's all
Lisa.
beautiful, and like I was like, oh my god. So this is another one, another proof of concept. I said, okay, draw me this, and this was like, okay, you're hired. Like, I don't care. Like, let's work together. And he provided me, these are color samples here. This is what his inks look like. This is what the colorist kind of, this is the colorist sample here. This is the Catherine Tonison is the colorist of this book, and this was her sample. And I said, okay, I think we got this with this colorist because I liked her approach to the colors here. And so yeah, the guys, that's pretty much what the Research Protocol is, a one-shot 50-page comic book, and that's all you're gonna get. It's again, it's
And
an
it looks
old
like
work. What's that?
it kind of looks like different people's interpretations of like what Krypton would look like.
Mm,
You
right,
know, it was like
right.
very technologically advanced stuff.
That's what I was going for, actually.
Yeah. Well, then you did a good job, I guess.
Yeah, so when did you finish the book? A while ago? Oh, a long while ago, Chris. 10 years ago. So I don't want people to be confused. This is not anything new that Andre is drawing, because Andre is doing other things with other great writers currently. So I just want to put it out there that this was drawn back in 2012.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Now,
um
is he gonna do any more with this story or anything like that? Have you talked to him?
I've spoken to him. No, he's too busy. He's much too busy nowadays to do any commission work. He's pretty much booked
Mm.
already, and so I again, it's fine. I'm not expecting him. I'm not expecting anything new from him. If he does have time, great. But he's already told me that he's much too busy at the moment. But he gave me the okay to produce this out and promote it, and also tag him, and give him credit. But part of the deal was I have to let people know this is an old piece of work. It's not anything new, because he doesn't want to confuse his readers that it's something new. So just want to put that out there. So it is old piece of work. So it is done. For the most part, there's a few things I need to, like I said, I need to tweak around. I need to re-letter the book, and there's a few pages I need to like add because of the certain holes that I didn't fill when I first produced the book.
That's what she said.
Yeah. But the rewards are very simple and direct. So you have a PDF version for $3, 50 pages. You know, I feel like I've never been a big fan of people who charge almost the same for the PDF for the print because of it's not much, you know, to do for a PDF really in delivery. It's just a few clicks and you're good to go. So that's why I had it at I have it at $3 for the PDF.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why it also is cheap because unfortunately for international backers, this book is not available to international backers. It's only available within the United States. And the reason for that is because of international shipping costs. I just don't have the resources to pay for international shipping costs. And I don't think it's fair to charge you $30 to $40 to ship it to, you know, to
a
you.
$5 book. Yeah.
No, it's not a $5 book. It's
I know, but like but
yeah. So I unfortunately, it's only available in America. If I get it to a level where it's, you know, I make a good amount, if I raise a good amount of funds, then I might do a second chance campaign where I do offer it to international shippers, so that way I could cover at least more than half of the cost of international shipping. Because I would like to do that. I would like you know, backers from outside the United States to be able to own this book because it is a great book. Once I fix all the things that I see wrong with it, you guys are going to be pleasantly surprised at how out there this book really is, and hopefully it shows when you read it. So that's the first reward. The second reward is just a physical book at $8. Again, 50 plus pages. This will have also behind the scenes stuff, sketches and things that I showed you. Like for instance, one example would be like, you know, things like this, but there's going to be a lot more in the book that you're not seeing here on the page, and a few notes of my own as well, to give you guys a little glimpse as to my approach to this story. So
that's pretty cool because that's what I've been doing right now with the Miracle Man books that I got because they re-released them under the Marvel banner, and then they added this original sketches and the notes and stuff like that. It's been kind of cool reading, you know, the notes of Alan Moore and stuff of like, you know.
Right. Yeah. Were there any changes done to the art, or did you get an artist to draw more pages? No changes to the art. Freddie, I hired another artist for a sequence that takes place outside this realm, and you'll know what I'm talking about if you back the book. You'll know precisely what I'm talking about. But that's all I'll say because it's I don't want to give away too much as to what that sequence is. But that's pretty much the main culprit of the holes that I saw when I reread the book. And then a special foil cover edition.
Ooh.
So this will be a foil cover. Once again, it's the 50 plus pages with the same amount, with the same, you know, behind the scenes stuff. It's just a foil cover, and only 500 available will be available for that. So only 500 people will be able to own this special edition foil cover at 20. And then, you know, once they're done, I'm not going to reprint that foil cover. It's a one of a kind. Maybe if I could extend it, if people demand, you know, people ask, you know, hit me up and say, hey, is there any chance you could, you know, add more? And maybe, but for now I can only,
it's exclusive to how much we can sell.
hey, if the demand is there, I could bump that number up, but for now I think 500 is a good number, and that's as much as they're going to get. So only 500 people are going to be able to own this one of a kind foil cover, because I'm not going to reprint the foil cover after this. After this, it's going to be just the book, no behind the scenes stuff, just the story, and, you know, my social media handles, and that's it. That's all I'm going to do after I have this book complete and I create an online store, or heck, I might even submit this to Image Comics or a publisher and get it published by them. You know, I wouldn't mind. I'm not opposed to that.
That'd be cool.
Benjamin asked, did someone different color the cover. It doesn't have the same quality as the interiors. No, Ben, it's the same colorist. The same colorist colored it. I don't know. She probably did a different approach to the cover, considering that it is a cover. But it's the same colorist. I used her services. Wait,
Did you?
no, I think maybe it was someone else. I can't remember. It was so long ago. It was so long ago. I can't remember now. I have to look at my old emails. But yeah, here are the first. You see the first few pages here, unlettered, um, of the beginning of the story, and of course, it's absolutely gorgeous. And so there you have it. Yeah, there's that. There it is. It's a one-shot sci-fi parable, and by the end of it, I think I'm confident to say that you guys will be left in shock and awe and wonder
Hmm.
when you finish the book, because it's once you see what the research protocol is, it's gonna hopefully blow your mind.
Yeah.
But that's it.
So is it just the foil cover? Is that it? That's the highest tier?
That's it, man. It's the highest tier. Yep, just
Okay.
3 rewards. I'm and the reason for that is because I'm a one man gang. I don't have a team. I don't have the resources currently to be able to offer more. I wish I could offer more. I wish I could provide you guys with a lot more extras, but it just after looking at my personal finances and what have you, I realized, okay, what the asking goal is what 1,500.
Hmm.
Hopefully I can make more, because if I do make more, then that can help me grow. Honestly, this is just a starter pack for a Lucid comic. My comic book company that I want to take I guess take off, right, to
Yeah, to the next level.
to the next level. And so if I do hit the stretch goals, which are down here at the bottom of the page, then I could definitely do a lot more. Like, for instance, here are the stretch goals here. So 5K stretch goal. Every single backer will receive a free physical copy of the next comic book that I will be launching later on this year, which is the Ghetto Dragon issue 1. So everyone will get a free copy of that physical copy. No extra charge.
Wow.
No extra charge. Free.
That's cool.
So the print will be out of my own pocket if I get the 5K stretch goal. And plus extra goodies like prints and stickers of other stuff, and maybe even from the reset protocol. 10K stretch goal is once again, you guys will receive a free copy of Ghetto Dragon, plus an ash can of the Vigilant Fury preview if you have not backed it. So if you have not backed Vigilant Fury, you'll get a free copy, a free ash can of Vigilant Fury, and then of course plus goodies and stickers and what have you. Anything beyond 10K, hey, like I wrote here, sky's the limit. I could think of, I could figure things out to pretty much thank you for the support. So I'm sure I could think of something great that I could provide people who decide to back this project and help me get to the next level, because I do have a lot more books in the pipeline that I do want to get into your hands, and I wanted this one to be the first one because, I mean, why not? I mean, look at the artwork and the fact that I got to work with someone like Andre really was in a lot of ways I was very lucky, very blessed to have worked with someone at that level for my first actual book that I finished from beginning to end.
That's
So
pretty cool.
yeah, so just keep that in mind, guys. This is a book that's
Now,
done. It's complete. The only thing I have to add is a few more things here and there, but that's not going to take me that long, which is why the ETA is April of this year, which is not that far off. It's only 2 months away.
yeah, that's pretty
So
fast considering it's an indie book.
yeah, exactly. So
How long
you
did
don't
it
have to wait
take?
a year. You don't have to wait. I mean, obviously there might be delays because printing, that's always another whole process, because sometimes you do a proof, they bring it back to you, and the print job is not that great, so you have to go back and forth with the printer, and that could cause delays. But that's as far as it goes. After that, once I'm happy with the print, then off to the printers we go and fulfill, to the backers.
Now,
Yeah.
you said that this was one shot.
Hmm.
Is there any one? Say it's obviously it's going to be a big hit and stuff like that. But is there any like plans, or would there be anything for a sequel, or possibly maybe another story in the same vein as this?
Um, Honestly, only if people demand it, man. Like if I get a bunch of people saying I want more of this character or more of this, because the Seeker, I like the character, the Seeker. He's the main character of this book. The Seeker is this individual right here.
The
This
bald
guy right
guy.
here. This guy right here. The Aang looking dude. If people want
Or
to see more of this character,
Shalaman, and not
yeah.
Shalaman, Ong.
So yeah, like if I have backers, telling me, hey man, I want more of this character. Can you come up with some more stories? And if I see enough, then yeah, I'll definitely do it. But as of now, no, I don't have any plans to add any more or write any more stories regarding this character.
Okay. It just means, it's already as good as it gets, right?
It's already as good as it gets. Yeah, pretty much. Because I just can't see anyone else drawing it but Andre.
Mm.
If I could get Andre to draw, if this book is very well received and readers want more of it, then maybe if I can convince Andre to fit me in his busy schedule, then hell yeah, I'll love to work with Andre again. He was great to work with. He really was. Very easy to work with, very professional,
Mm.
and he made my job easy as a writer.
That always helps when you
Oh,
have somebody that makes your job easier.
yeah, of course, of course. Oh, Freddy, back at number 6. Tried it back again for the regular cover, but it's not letting me. Oh, interesting. Wonder why it's not letting you for the regular cover. Huh.
Is it just like one back per person, or like?
It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. That's
That's
weird.
what I thought. I feel like you could back all of them, right, or something.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe try tomorrow, Freddy. I don't know. Maybe maybe Kickstarter does like one of those things where I guess you have to wait 24 hours. I have no idea, man. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know why it's doing that. That's weird. I could definitely send them an email and ask them, if there's like a policy against that or something. But yeah, the goal is 1,500. It's not that high. It's very doable, I think, if I just, promote and market and try to get on live streams, other live stream channels, and promote the book and get people interested in this story. But that's it, guys. This is it. The Reset Protocol. Thank you for the support. For those who already backed it, and for those who watched the replay and don't know about this project, thank you if you decide to back it, or even if you just want to make a pledge and just give me $1. That can go a long way too, even though it's just $1 or whatever.
Just give me $1.
Yeah, I'll be forever grateful. I'm always grateful to be able to make comic books. That's always something that I've always wanted to do ever since. Yeah, since I was 18 years old, I've been wanting to make comic books because I just love producing and telling stories in that medium. It's very fulfilling for me as well. And
And I
I
like
love
reading comic
entertaining.
books.
Yeah, I love entertaining people, and why not do it in comic book form? Huh? It's asking you to change your pledge. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know why it's doing that. But that's good to know, Freddie. I'll keep that in mind. I'll send them a message and ask them. What's the deal with that? But there you have it, folks. That's the Reset Protocol. If you guys already backed it, if you guys are feel like this is something that maybe some of your friends may enjoy, some of your colleagues might like, hey, let them know. Let them know about the campaign and have them check it out and let them decide whether or not it's something that they would enjoy, or maybe it may not be something they might not enjoy, but they might know someone else that might enjoy something like this. So any little support helps. Any little help of spreading the word will help. I'd deeply appreciate. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, follow me on this on X and Instagram, and you'll be seeing a lot more of this being promoted on my feed for the next 30 days.
Is there like a link that you can post in the chat or something to this?
Oh, thank you, Kyle, for reminding me.
Yeah.
Hold Hold up. Let me just do this real quick. But I think we hit the hour, right?
Yeah, we're a little bit past, I think. Yeah.
Ah, okay. So it is now
We
time.
were talking a lot about the Madam Web thing.
Yeah, no, yeah, of
Yes.
course. It's one of those things. Oh, great. I'll do it in a minute. I'll do it in a second. So speaking of crowdfunding campaigns, this book that we're going to talk about, I was going to talk about this book with Kyle, but I realized earlier today that I can't talk about this book today with Kyle. You're going to have to do the whole thing, Kyle, because I'm the
Right.
editor of this book.
Oh.
So I can't I really can't speak on it. I because it's a little bit of a, what do you call it?
Conflict of interest.
Conflict of interest. Thank you. Yeah. So I I'm not gonna speak on it. I'll just give my thoughts, but I'm not going to give my opinion about it because I'm too close to this particular book. Just give me a second. I'm trying to get the video. I can't find the video.
And you're just stalling for time.
I am stalling for time.
Well, while you're doing that, I'll talk.
Okay. Well, before we do that, we have to remember.
I thought we were stalling for time.
Alrighty. Thank you, Dionysius. Thank you. So the book that I was talking about was DeadStop, Tour of Terror by 656 Comics, written by Pancho and Ray Ramos and a few other, I think one more writer. I just can't remember his name at the moment. Do you have his name by chance?
So there's Francisco.
Yeah, that's Pancho.
Pancho, okay. Ray Marcos.
Okay.
Oros?
Ramos. That should be Ray Ramos.
Oh. No. Is it?
Marcos. Oh, he does say Marcos.
Marcos.
Yeah, my bad. My mistake.
I'm reading it.
My mistake. Go on.
Let's see. Twisted Mouse by Dario Rodriguez, and as artist. Yeah, I guess that's it. If we are missing somebody, I am sorry.
No, I think you're good.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're good.
So anyway, we were gonna try to get who was it on the show?
Pancho Francisco.
Okay, but he chickened out. I'm just kidding.
No, he didn't chicken out. He had a prior. He had an engagement that he couldn't get out of because it was part of his work. So I understand.
Yeah, we're not discrediting him or anything like that yet. I'm just kidding. But basically, what do you want to give like an introduction to this thing, or do you want me to?
I'll give an introduction. Yeah, so DeadStop Tour of Terror is a compilation of short stories that take place in the border town of Juarez, Mexico. And it follows the somewhat dark adventures of this bus driver here who goes from stop to stop, introducing the next story that it pretty much goes to a wild ride of crazy, of horror, suspense, and thrills. I personally enjoyed it, specifically the clown story, which is something that Kyle will talk about in a little bit. That's my personal favorite, but overall, I loved it, and I was asked to be editor of this book, so I edited the book, and so that's why this is as far as I'll go when it comes to talking about this particular book. So Kyle, the floor is yours. What say you?
Right. So as I say, with every comic book that I review, that it's I give tremendous respect to the artists and the writers and everything because
That's right, Freddy. That's right.
I give hey, let me finish. I say you give everybody I give all tremendous respect for all the writers and the artists for any comic book because it does take a lot to make comic books as we've established. Um and so I was given this book by Julius to read for it to review. Um and this is the first type of book where I've read where it's like a whole bunch of short stories that are all compiled into one. I haven't really read any comic books that are like that. So from that aspect of it, I liked it because and I do like um the fact that it is a bus driver that's going her through and basically like stopping at all these different stories and picking up characters and stuff like that. So it's kind of like a narrative thread that goes through it, which is pretty good. It's not just like, cut here, here's a story, here's a story, here's a story,
Right, right.
At least there's something to it. And so getting into the stories, we have I'm just gonna well overall I'd say it's interesting. I say that. There's I would say it definitely speaks to an audience that's not necessarily me.
Now,
But
boy,
that
hold on.
doesn't
Before you go on, why?
okay. Most likely because as you mentioned, it has to deal with a lot of like border, like Mexico, California border,
No, no,
what
no.
the
Mexico,
stories that go on.
Texas, Texas.
Texas, Mexico. Well, it's still. What did I say? California, or did I say
You say
USA?
California, yeah.
Oh, okay, California. Um, Mexico, Texas border. And so a lot of the stuff doesn't like a lot of terminologies and things like that doesn't necessarily I didn't really understand. But that's just because of me, and I'm not necessarily familiar with all of it. Um, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I didn't like every single issue or story in this. There were some things that I, you know, could was confused about, I guess. So
Okay.
starting off with the first story. So well, first off, we have him, the bus driver, going around and stopping at this like burrito shop, and in the story, um, we find out that there's like this burrito restaurant that serves like the best burritos in the world apparently or something like that. And there's a homeless guy, or not necessarily if he's homeless or not, but he's collecting cans on the street and hears from somebody that they're giving out free burritos in the back of the store. And so he goes back there and they're or free chili or something like that. And he goes back there. There's a scuffle of people trying to cut in line because I guess it's really good food. And we then come to find out, or the main character gets knocked in the head. He wakes up in the kitchen. And then once he's in the kitchen, he sees the cooks and everybody. So yeah, there's the line out back. Um, Once he's in the kitchen, he finds out basically that they're serving people as uh as the main ingredient for the burritos. And it's pretty like not horrific scene, but it shows body parts and stuff in the freezer and stuff like that. And obviously the guy freaks out because they're serving people. Um yeah, see there he is in the kitchen saying, "Yeah, oh, it's delicious." Um you can tell that this is like some sort of cover up type thing because the people he's trying to say that, you can't let this get out or something like that. You can't let the public know. and this guy's going to expose them. So he goes and tries to warn people. He gets his hand cut from the chefs. They're trying to serve him up, basically. Um, keep scrolling down.
Mhm. Oh.
Yeah, there's the kitchen. There's his hand getting cut. Yeah, which is pretty good. I mean, like, there's a good facial expressions in this. Yeah, definitely,
Yes, Dario is a fantastic artist for sure.
yeah. So he's going around, and then basically he's telling everybody, hey, they want to eat me and stuff like that. And the business owner puts on this face and it's all like, oh, he's just, crazy. He cut his finger or something like that. Everything's fine. And so he goes out and, is trying to get help. But I guess it's basically like a bystander effect where nobody even pays attention. Everybody just sticks to their own lane. And then the guys come and get him. And then that's the end of the story.
Okay, and then what's the next one? Or
Well,
first of all, give a What do you think of this first story? Because it's the first one that
right.
they chose to put in the book, and so this is definitely set the tone, I would imagine, for the rest of the book. What you think? What was your overall thoughts on the, I guess, the delivery of the story? How did it make you feel? Second of
Well,
all,
when
yeah,
I guess when I read it the first time, I was expecting more of a twist, or I was expecting the point to be hammered in more. I guess from when I was talking to you about it, um, the main point of the story was when he's going around asking people if, for help and stuff, and nobody pays attention. That's supposed to be the irony in it, I guess you'd say, because nobody
mhm.
cares. I would have preferred, at least from my perspective, I would have maybe like hammered it home a little bit more and say he goes to like, a cop or something like that, or some authority figure, or maybe he goes to like a group of people and says, hey, they're eating, killing people and eating us and stuff like that. And everybody's holding the burrito and they say, yeah, we know. It's still good though. And they kept
Ah,
eating.
okay.
It's something like that, maybe.
I mean, but wouldn't that be a little cliche though? I mean, this is an honest question. Like, wouldn't that be cliche to have that kind of ending for this kind of story?
I don't know. I mean, as a short story, it would work. But I guess I was just them being bystanders wasn't scary enough, I guess you would say.
I see. Okay.
Um, but yeah, that's just my opinion on it.
All right.
You don't
So
necessarily have to
what's
have it.
the next story then?
Next story was called the King of Clowns.
King of
Um,
Clowns, my favorite, personal
yeah,
favorite.
this one. So this one is
Well,
basically the.
hold
Go
on
ahead.
before you give your quick overview of what the story is. This is based on the real story, by the way.
Okay.
So just
Well, see,
keep
that's
that in mind. Oli's asking, isn't apathy scary?
I guess, in a sense, yeah. But apathy is also apathy, which means apathy is like I don't care. So if I don't. I guess what I'm saying is I don't care about apathy.
Ironic.
Yeah. Um. But so in this story, I guess, well, and what you mentioned though about the whole thing is that apparently all these stories are somewhat supposed to be based off of some real story or true story or something like that. Um, or lore or something like that. Um, but the next story is The King of Clowns, where basically it's a clown competition, and there's three clowns that are competing for the head clown or the most popular clown. King of Clowns, obviously, I guess the story. And there's one clown I forgot his name. Flamio or something.
Is this him? Tyrion?
No, I don't think it's. No, it's not Tyrion. It's the Flamita. That's him. That's the one
Flamita,
that's.
okay.
He's the one that really wants it. He's been like, I guess he's like the old timer, not old timer, but like the experienced guy.
What?
And
Like the clown,
I,
Freddy, or are you
I,
talking about?
I
Who are you
don't know if
talking
that's something
about?
you should like brag. I was gonna
Oh,
say
you
it's
talking
the
about her?
clown.
You talking about this
Oh,
woman here?
I think I talk about the clown.
Don't judge me. Not judging, bro. Hey, you do you, bro. You do you.
But basically, yeah, they're all competing. The other guy wins, not the Trillion wins, even though the one that the Flamio or Flameta, I can't remember what his name is. Anyway, he was destined to win, or he was like wanting to win, and I think it did land for me. Is that this? You see this art style is very, fun and goofy and
Mm-hmm.
carefree and stuff like that, and then you get to this one panel after it's announced that he didn't win. You cut to the Flamita's castle, and in which he has this like super
That's
detailed,
so great, dude. I love this page.
you know, King of Clowns get up and stuff like that. That he was like, it's
I
it's
especially
one
love
of those,
the bottles here. The
yeah.
two bottles.
Which I
He's
I do
drunk.
like. I like that I did get it without it having to explain it to me and spoon feed me. I could like it at least showed me like, okay, this was what it was important to him, obviously, and
Yeah.
it's pretty in your face about it. And so then basically they're having a party for the other clown, and to like congratulate him and give him his party and stuff. And so this clown goes to the party, crashes the party, and basically sets the building on fire. And then all the kids scream and stuff. Clown gets I think he beats him up too. Yeah, they beat each other
Yeah.
up. He's like full on like psychopathic type, you
Yeah.
stole
Yeah.
everything from me type thing. And then he ends up going to jail. Um, as another one of those where it's like I got it and it's good. I just wish that the punch was a little more.
The punch was a
Uh,
little more okay.
in my
You talking
when
about the
I
punch?
first
Are you talking about the punch
the
line, Kyle?
punchline, yeah, basically like what I was expecting or something like that was in my interpretation as I would have, um, you know, had the party been like since it's a clown award, I was expecting him to like go and hatch this big plan to like ruin the party and stuff. But when he gets there and ruins it, he later finds out that the party was actually supposed to be for him and that all of that was just a ruse, a giant joke, and that he was actually the real winner of the real
I
clown
see. I see.
thing.
Right.
And that was just all supposed to be a bit and the joke's on you type thing. But in
Gotcha.
actuality, since he ruined everything, he's going to jail. He actually isn't the one anymore.
That could have been a very good creative liberty there because obviously it try to keep it as close to the real story as possible. So maybe that could have been one of those instances where they were like,
Yeah.
yeah, let's just have a little bit of fun with this. But okay, I can see that. I can see that.
And then we got this poem by Ray, which is The Lady of Sorrows. Which as soon as I saw it, I knew instantly that it was Ray from Kryptonals. Like with the art style and the poem aspect of it and the sort of like very mystical, I guess is the word I want to say. I actually liked the story. I liked it. It was good. It was a good like, especially from reading Kryptonals, where I didn't really know who the character was in the Kryptonals. It's the same character,
Mhm.
and so getting a little bit more backstory. It's basically the story is from what I understand, is supposed to be like the lore
Right.
history of
Yeah.
this folklore character. And it's basically about, children. She eats children's dreams, and spirits, because some kids, uh, I think it was died in a river, I believe.
Yes. She drowned
But
her kids in the river.
yeah, she drowned her kids. Yeah. Um, but I like this story because it did do, um sort of like, well, where are they now type thing, where I like the fact that it shows her at the beginning and the time, of her thing, and says, like, this is how it used to be and stuff like that. And then now it's like, oh, all these kids, they're just on their video games and they don't have dreams anymore. And so why, there's no reason for me to basically like exist anymore because none of them are dreaming or caring or anything like that, which is, it's kind of sad in a way, I guess. And it's something you never really think about with these, like, you know, uh, lore, the cryptonal type,
Right.
things where it's like, what happens to them when the children grow up or something, like, or like you get into modern times. So it was interesting to read that. So I like that story.
Okay. Cool.
I don't
I'm
think I
sure Ray
really
will like
changed
that.
anything. Yeah.
You guys are not gonna believe me, but I also did a girl looks like her.
Especially that last picture right there.
You have a certain type, Freddie. I think it's safe to say you have a certain type.
Yeah, well, you should back this book then. You'll get all your old girlfriend's
Yeah, don't all
pictures.
women eat children's dreams? Ooh.
Ooh. Let's see. The next story was The Latchkey Kid. This one I was kind of confused on. It had a good beginning and stuff. Basically, it's basically a story of a kid um whose dad is a cop, and the cops are in this like hideout or war or something like that with the gangs, and they're not allowed to go see their family. And
Right.
so the mom is in, like, I guess, like, not protective custody, but like away, hidden or something like that. And so the grandma is taking care of his kid. And so he's scared, obviously, and stuff like that, and says that there's monsters under his bed. And I like the fact that, I mean, like, again, the facial expressions and stuff, like, there's not a whole lot of dialogue in this thing, but it didn't necessarily need to be because you really understood the character, this child's fears and what's going
Right.
on around him and stuff like that. I'm like, I felt bad for the kid, and it's scary. So they
Yeah,
definitely
this
did a
whole
good
sequence
job.
was great too. I really love the sequence.
Oh yeah. And you feel bad for him, and then he finally musters up some courage and gets some strength to, like, wanting to fight off the monsters in his bed. So he puts together this, ragtag, ghost hunting equipment type thing,
Right.
and then doesn't find anything, gets a dog, and I'm like, cool, dog's here. Finally you get some warmth and happiness, and and you feel good for the kid. And then um the dog dies the next night. And again, facial expression, you really feel bad. And then it says dogs aren't the only things that lick. So I was just confused at the ending of this. I'm like, am I like, what's going on? Is it just supposed to be scary? Like the dog just dies, or is the dog supposed to be like an allegory for something, or and then what's the monster?
What's your interpretation, Kyle? What do you think it means?
I honestly don't know. I mean, I guess based off the story or something like that, I'd say. But the thing is, though, like usually with, like, if it's his dad's a cop, usually cops are referenced as pigs. So I thought maybe if it was like a pig or something like that, and the pig dies, then there's maybe talking about his dad as a cop or something like that. Um, I guess monsters just take the innocent or something like that, which being a dog, being innocent. Well, I don't know. What was, do you know?
Uh
It's correct, telling you.
I think I'm gonna agree with Freddie. It's the grandma telling me to shut up. I
So,
don't know. I think this was something. It's remember it's a horror, right? It's a horror book.
right.
So
I understand that.
I
Yeah.
I would imagine. I think the what Pancho was trying to convey here is the frightening factor of the unknown, not seeing who is tormenting you. Is and I think that's what honestly, I think the allegory was mainly about that very thing. He's isolated from his parents because they have to be isolated from this narco war that's going on, and you don't know if you're going to see tomorrow. It's based on, but I don't know. I mean, you can interpret it any amount of ways, and I guess maybe it's
Yeah,
up for interpretation.
I guess that's something. It's just something I didn't necessarily understand. But again, I did like the sequentials, I guess you would say. I liked the
Mhm.
character. I liked facial expressions and stuff. That was all good. Just the ending, again, I didn't necessarily understand. Junior, this one I liked. This one I did like. Uh, in a sad sort of way. Uh, this one I felt was the most like complete story, I would say. It basically is showing like this sort of mansion type house. You get this kid who wants to be like his dad, so he's putting up like cowboy gear, and he's got, it's his birthday, so his dad's gonna come pick him up and gonna take him on like a special excursion type thing. His mom's all happy for him. Says, "Yeah, you look just like your dad." Um, Dad takes him in the car, and then that's when it sort of like gets into this descent where it hands him a beer, and you're like, okay, yeah, that's probably something that like a dad would do here. It's like give his kid a beer on his birthday and stuff like that. And then it kind of takes a little bit more of a dive when gives him some drugs to do. And so he takes it, and it's like, okay, that's not something necessarily a
Freddie is letting us know that he also dated a woman who looked like the
oh.
mom.
At least that is something. Hey, you're getting better, Freddie.
Moving on up, that's for sure.
Moving on up. So it's like, okay, well, that's not something like a normal, typical, wholesome dad would do necessarily. Give your
Right.
kid some drugs to do, and then at this point, the kid's still sort of like innocent, blissfully innocent, almost in a way, in portrayal and stuff like that. And then you get to this outhouse, or not outhouse, but just like barn type thing, and you get some guy with a pinata on his head.
Yep.
And I think, and that's the thing, and then right there says that you're the best dad ever, and it's like, oh man, that's like
Yeah.
okay, so we're going dark here. Yeah. And so the kid's like happy, and
Hey, dude, I'm sorry, Oli, but this is the whole point of the show. Whole point of the show, man.
so anyway.
Well, now you got me thinking, Oli. uh, okay. Well, let me just. Okay, there.
All right, well, you want me to not finish it then?
Yeah, let's not finish there. I didn't even think about that. Sorry, Oli.
Okay.
At first, I was like, yeah, well, so what? But now I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, actually, no, my bad. My bad. My bad.
I was just told to review
Maybe
it.
some of these we shouldn't give too much detail. But yeah, I think Oli. Yeah, I'm sorry, Oli. I apologize, Oli.
Okay, well then something happens at the end, and then it's good. Okay, well, so how do you want me to proceed?
It was a body crisis. Let's.
Because I was just told, hey, That's on him. I was told to review the book,
I'm sorry, bro.
and I'm reviewing the book of how
Okay,
I would
how
always
about we do
review
this?
it.
How about we do this? Let's I'll remove and go on to the next story.
Okay. How
Starfish.
about I won't give I'll give brief
Here, I'll do
overviews.
this. I'll give the first 5 pages of Starfish, and then I'll get out of the screen. How about that?
Okay, well, Starfish was one that I didn't necessarily care for. This one was the one that I got most confused on. Um, it, I honestly don't know
Well, yeah,
what
go ahead. Just say what you did were confused about.
I
And since
it was.
Oli, since you're in the chat, maybe you can provide some context for Kyle here as to in terms of what maybe he's not understanding about Starfish. So
Yeah,
Starfish is
because
actually one of my favorites, to be
it
honest.
is
Yeah.
okay. But basically, I didn't
What?
understand what the whole dynamic between everybody was. It seemed like characters were always like either like really involved with each other or trying to not be involved with one another. And so I couldn't really understand what was happening. Towards the end, I guess they explained it a little, but I was still confused about the dynamics between everybody. And why like it went to a certain direction that I didn't necessarily expect, I guess you would say.
In a good way or in a bad way?
Um, I guess it's to your own interpretation, I guess. Uh,
Well, what is
um,
it that you didn't understand? Like what okay, so is
well,
is it the ending that confused you or what?
honestly, I didn't understand at all. Like to be perfectly honest,
Okay. All right.
it was just one that it just did not click for me at all. So, but hey, that's just me, and I it might do for you. I'm not sure. I mean, obviously it did for you. You said this is one of your favorites. I just uh I honestly couldn't tell you why I it just didn't work for me.
Okay.
Um and then there's the final story, I believe. I think that's it, which is Boys Night Out.
Apparently Wyman didn't get it either, Kyle.
But anyway, yeah, so Boys Night Out is a story where I liked the beginning of the story. I liked it. We learn about it's some characters that are kids that are going on like a Tijuana type trip,
No,
and
Juarez.
Hawaii.
Juarez. Yeah.
Okay, but it's sort of like the stereotypical, like in like teenage
Right.
rom-com type sitcom type shows where it's like, oh, let's go down to TJ and we're gonna have a fun time, and then some you know horrible thing or some thing happens while they're down there that gets them into trouble and stuff like that. It's one of those stories, but it also has a very I guess fantastical element at the end. um yeah, it sort of follows suit with the same as the other stories where it gets progressively, worse, like for the characters as the night goes on. Um, and that one I didn't mind. I thought the ending was a little interesting because there was one character at the end that I had to ask Julius what that was, and he said
Right.
it was for something else that they're doing. So I guess it's sort of like a teaser crossover type thing. I'm not sure, but overall, I did enjoy this story. I thought the characters again, faces, dynamics, understanding the character. I did think though, uh, since a lot of it was in Spanish, I didn't necessarily understand.
Right.
It probably, which I mean, yes, I would have preferred it to be in English so that I could read it. However, it makes it more authentic that it's not, because then that's exactly how these characters would be, because they don't know what they're saying either. So,
Right. Yeah.
so I liked it from that perspective.
And this is
So
where it
yeah,
gets dark right here.
yeah, it gets
I'm not.
dark.
I'm not
Yeah,
gonna keep scrolling because obviously I don't want to continue on spoiling
yeah. So
the
it just gets
stories.
progressively worse from
But
there.
after this is where it gets really, yeah, crazy. After this, Freddy says, "Kyle, I know you said you didn't get it because it's border, but I grew up in the Inland Empire, and some of these characters reminded me where I grew up. Maybe you knew more. Maybe you need more paisa Mexican homie." Well, he does have me, Freddie, because
Yeah,
I shared with them some stories from my ghetto upbringing in Santa Ana. So uh, he has that at least, and I'm sure there's been a few
I have
stories where I
Mexican
told them.
friends too. I got-
All right, that's as far as I'll go for this one.
anyway, sorry if we spoiled a little too much for the book.
Yeah. So, apologies, Oli. Apologies. I didn't even.
Blame
It didn't
him.
like hit me. It didn't
Blame
strike
him, not
me.
me. I was just sent to review.
Yeah.
I I thought it was already funded. First off,
No,
so
they did. They funded it a few, I think a year or two back on Indiegogo. And maybe that's why. Maybe that's why, Oli. I just figured like, well, most people have their books already. It's just now you're gonna go after the Kickstarter audience, and but you're right. Giving away too much is probably too. It was too much for sure.
but in any event, go check it out for yourself. You know,
Yeah,
um,
yeah,
because a lot of these, again, because of the fact too that there's so many stories in this book, there's probably something that you'll like when you're reading it. You might not necessarily care for every single story, but there's probably one or two in there. Like I said, there's stories in there that I didn't necessarily understand, but there's also stories that I did like. So it's not necessarily, I can't, that's the reason why I was kind of going it based off of the story, not necessarily as the book as a whole. Because the book as its whole, it was actually, it's pretty decent. I liked it. So I just think
all right.
specific stories were interesting, to say the least. Or the things that I wish were, maybe the point was hammered home a little bit more.
Okay, but this story was, you liked it. You still and I guess, for lack of a better term, enjoyed it.
Yeah. So
And after this, that's it, right?
that's it. That was the last one. That was the last story.
Okay, so no raza, no raza ride tonight, I guess. um. Okay, so Mr. Kyle, Moment of Truth,
Yeah.
is DeadStop Tour of Terror, published and produced by 656 Comics, worth the pickup?
Um, I'd say it is worth the pickup. Um, because there are stories in there that definitely speak to a wider audience. I think there are definitely stories in there that speak to a specific audience. But everybody can come up with their own conclusions, and like Freddie said, you don't necessarily need to be raised or know in this area in order to understand the stories. I think that the art, the storytelling of it is, and like the facial expressions, the artists and stuff like that were all pretty good across the board. I didn't necessarily dislike any of the art that was in it. Actually, come to think of it, I don't think there was.
Putting the Cuernos is Spanish for horns.
Putting the horns away.
Yeah, so the inner demon is not going to come out.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, because I didn't necessarily dislike it. I mean, like there was ones that I like as I went through the review talked about,
Right.
but
But overall, you did enjoy it. Overall, you
yeah,
it was more good than bad. In other words.
yeah.
Oh, my bad. That's right. Cuernos is AK-47s in Spanish. It's a slang term.
Ah,
So cuernos in
okay. So
Spanish slang is
they're not gonna go and
AK-4.
bust. They're not gonna go bust down my doors because they say I didn't like it.
Yeah. But just fair warning, Freddie. Fair warning. Kyle is also he's an armed American, so don't expect an easy an easy
Yeah.
gun battle.
There you go.
But no, all good though. We all like to have fun here. Okay, so it is worth the pickup.
Yes.
So there you have it, folks. DeadStop Tour of Terror is worth the pickup. It's currently live on Kickstarter. It's doing really well. I think they're getting close to $1,000. Last time I checked. So good on you. Oh shit, Kyle packing heat. That's right, dude. Kyle don't mess around, man.
Right.
Kyle don't mess around. Hold on, let me
Yeah.
There we go. So there you have it, right here.
There you go. DeadStop.
And I'll put
Again,
the link in the
art was
chat.
really good.
Oh, by the way, guys, if you guys know how to give wrenches to people, I want to give some wrenches to a few people in the chat, so that way in the future you can help me out with putting the it's to allow people in the chat to add links to campaigns and stuff.
Oh,
because I can't do it, man.
I thought you were like actually like giving people like socket wrenches.
No.
And stuff like that. It's like what are you talking about?
So right now it's still live. It has 19 days to go on Kickstarter. It has 20 backers. It's at $921. Oh, you got from YouTube. Okay, got it. All right, I'll do that next time then when I go live. So yeah, great. So DeadStop Tour Terror is worth the pickup. So if you guys want to check out some nice, good old fashioned horror tales that take place at the border, pick up DeadStop. You wouldn't be. I think it'll be a great way to enrichen your I guess to be cultured a little bit more, to know a little bit of the. Now, well, let me ask you this, Kyle. What? Obviously, it may not be your biggest takeaway, but did you find anything jarring about the culture of the border town? Because Pancho Francisco, the writer who was supposed to be here with us.
Mm-hmm.
He grew up in Juarez. He grew up in border town. He knows the history of Juarez like the back of his hand, and obviously his upbringing influenced his this particular book. So based on what you've read, what they call you in the hood, Kyle, militia, Freddie.
There you go.
Militia Kyle.
I like it.
We got to bring Kyle to Juarez, Julius. I think we do, Oli. But reading the book, was there anything that maybe you took away from when you read it? Did you ask yourself, wow, like, is this really like this in Juarez? Or did they even cross your mind? Like, what was something that you may have like learned, I guess, from reading DeadStop Tour Terror?
Definitely, when you mentioned to me after the fact that all these were based off of stories there, that's what sort of gave me more clarity, I guess you would say, because it doesn't say that in the book that these were like based on real stories. It just show as stories.
Okay.
So I guess that would be one of the changes I would have made, is to have it say that these are based off of stories that had happened there to an extent, I guess. But yeah, I mean, obviously it's definitely a culture shock. I'd say especially with the Junior story was the most jarring one, I'd say.
Yes.
And the one that I feel like it's sad but true that is what happens. And so learning about the culture and stuff like that, definitely was interesting.
Kyle learned he doesn't want to visit Juarez.
Well, if I got, not by myself, obviously, so I want to go there with somebody who knows there.
Right. No, for sure. But okay, that's cool. So you at least got that from reading uh DeadStop.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. So yeah, there you have it. Worth the pickup. So if you guys were thinking about it, those I'm sure those in the chat already backed it. They already have their copies, more than likely. But those who watch the replay or who stumble upon this video, this live stream, check it out. Hopefully, it's still live when you do get to it, or if you ever do stumble upon this video, don't hesitate. It's very accessible price wise. Black and white book, thick, worth the price, worth the pickup, according to Kyle here. So check it out. DeadStop Tour of Terror live on Kickstarter currently. You have 19 days left, so get your copy while you still can. I think that pretty much sums it up. But real quick, we have a little bit of time. Real quick, Kyle, Fantastic Four.
Okay.
What'd you think of the casting of Fantastic Four? Real quick, give us a footnote, thought process of the casting of Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic. Thank you, Oli. And the other actor playing Johnny Storm, who was Eddie in Stranger Things. I don't know who the guy who's playing Thing is going to be, Ben Grimm. The actress who's playing Sue Storm, I have never heard of her either. But what'd you think of the casting?
Well, she was in the Mission Impossible movies just recently.
I see. Border towns are different. I remember waiting at the bus station to cross to Reynosa, and I saw a woman get kidnapped. I was like, whoa.
Wow.
That's dark, dude. Yikes. Oh my God. Damn, that really did suck the air out of the room, didn't it?
I know. I was like, man, you really brought it down there, man.
Oh, damn.
Well, in terms of Fantastic Four, I guess one of the reasons why you brought that up was because of the casting, but I also got the Fantastic Four Full Circle book that was recommended to me a couple streams ago. I haven't read it yet, but this is from Alex Ross as well.
But you got it.
Trying to pivot away from Ben's story right there.
It's all good, Ben. It's all good. It's all good, man. You don't feel bad about it. Hey, you're just sharing an experience, dude, and that's wild, man. That you were 5 years old and witnessed that. That's terrible.
Anyway.
So let me know. Okay, since you mentioned you got the book, I can't wait for you to read it. I heard it's really good, and it's Alex Ross, and so I'm sure it's great. And the fact that he used, I think he drew it as a pencil or inked, I believe.
Yeah,
he didn't paint it, so that's kind of cool. That he
definitely
did that.
A different art style than his paintings.
Yeah, that's cool, dude. I am really digging when I heard about that, and I was like, oh, dude, he didn't
look at that.
like that's cool. That's so cool, dude. That's so cool that he did that.
Yeah. It's definitely very dynamic, very a lot going on. So I'm excited to read that. But as in terms for the casting, I'm fine with everybody except for Mr. Fantastic, Pedro Pascal.
How come you don't like Mr. Pascal?
Well, I don't think he fits the character of Mr. Fantastic.
Oh, then who did you want to play the role?
Like somebody white, I guess.
Fair enough.
I mean, not necessarily like, I guess, I don't know. Chris Pratt's been in a lot of stuff. Why not have him be? just kidding.
I guess Freddie liked your answer too.
No, I mean, it just seems like Pedro Pascal is he doesn't fit the character. It just seems like he's the actor of the week, where he's just like been in everything now, and they're just shoehorning him in there.
I mean, he's a good actor.
I thought, he's good.
Ben says his pick was Joshua Jackson. That would have been pretty interesting.
What has he been in?
Joshua Jackson, he was an actor from the 90s. He was in Dawson's Creek. I think he was also in that other show that J.J. Abrams produced. where him and his grandfather like traveled to different dimensions. Help me out, chat. What show was that? I can't remember the name of that show, but I guess he'll be interesting. Fringe, the show Fringe.
And-
Yeah.
Okay.
Um.
If I guess an actor that I would maybe I don't know. Reed Richards is very specific in his role.
Yeah,
I
he
got
is.
in his like character
Yeah.
because he's like super smart, but he's also like super um egotistical, I guess you would say.
Right.
So you
Yeah.
have to find somebody that could play that very well. Um, the super smart, like I know more than every single person in the world,
Yeah.
basically.
Pedro Pascal.
He's not
Pedro
white.
Pascal.
Yeah.
Well, personally, I don't care. Like I
Yeah,
stopped
but you
caring.
don't care about anything though.
Yeah,
So your
I don't
opinions don't
care.
matter.
I stopped caring about all that stuff because again, once you get to the point in my personal journey of no longer of becoming of a fan who it's upset when things don't go the way I hope they would. I feel like, hey, look, they own the IP. They can do whatever they want with it, and whether or not what they do with it, ultimately it's gonna be their decision. But hey, if they could get me, if they could pull me in, and that's great. But for the most part, they don't. So I just don't watch. I don't watch, and I don't care. You know.
Yeah, I mean,
Ben says Reed needs to portray intelligence and leadership without coming off too cocky. That's a hard ask for any actor. That's true. That is a challenge for sure.
right.
That would be definitely a challenge. Pedro would look like the Fantastic Four's grandpa.
I didn't necessarily dislike the actor who played him first in that Fantastic Four.
Yeah, he was pretty good.
Yeah.
I did watch those first two Fantastic Four movies that Jessica Alba was in. It was okay. You know, it's just so hard to do a Fantastic Four movie. I feel like Fantastic Four is like a product of their time. They belong in the 60s and only the 60s.
Well, and that's why they're trying to do that in this movie because it seems like it's going to be set in the 60s. But I mean, Incredibles did it, and they basically made Fantastic Four.
That's true, but you know, that was an iteration of it. That was, you know, they switched things around with that.
But it's still the same basic
right
premise of family.
I don't really care. Honestly,
I think that's the main key though, is that they need to be a family. They can't be individuals. They need to be a family.
Right.
And that's sort of like, from what I understand, gives Fantastic Four the
No,
why
you're right.
people love it so much.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. You're right about that. It has the family unit that. Yeah, Freddie, that's the one thing that surprised me is they didn't keep Krasinski.
Yeah.
I think he would have done. I think he would have done great. Honestly, personally.
Yeah. Probably.
When he was cast,
I think he was given a lot less to do in Multiverse of Madness.
Dude,
and
he was. Yeah, it was so mind-boggling that they wouldn't cast John Krasinski, and they would. I mean, I don't know. Who knows? At this point, it makes no difference anymore because most writers don't care, as we've established in the beginning of the stream. But hey, to each their own is what I say. So, yeah. Well, whatever. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Maybe, hey, they'll surprise us. Maybe they'll finally surprise us and make an actual good movie. Who knows?
Yeah, hoping. But, Marvel's current track record. I mean, everybody's hyped for Deadpool Wolverine. So
that's another one. That's another one. We'll see how that one works out.
I'm cautiously optimistic on that movie.
All right. So that pretty much sums it up for tonight's show. Thank you again to those who showed up to the show, and thank you to those who backed Reset Protocol. I am grateful that you have chosen to support me, and hopefully we can get to those stretch goals so I can continue on making great books. I do have a lot more books in the pipeline, like I said earlier. So let's get there. Help me get there and spread the word and let people know about Reset Protocol. With that said, Kyle, is there any last thing you would like to say before we call it a night?
Remember, kidney stones are human pearls.
All right. Okay. Until next time.
Until next time.
And to end this whole this ever since we started doing this, I wanted to end the show with a high note or of some kind, whether it's something that I found to be funny, interesting, thought provoking, whatever the case may be. If I find it very interesting, I'm going to share it here at the end of the video, the end of the stream. And this week, this week I found this video that really tickled me. Not so much because of what happened to the poor lady, because obviously that it sucked what happened to her, but the commentary.
Did
The person
Benjamin
who,
used to date her?
huh?
Or did Benjamin used to date somebody that looked like her?
Oh, maybe the not Benjamin, Freddie. You're thinking of
Oh, Freddie.
Yeah, maybe someone that Freddie used to date or looked like someone that he used to date. But yeah, it was narrated by, I'm assuming, a comedian, because he did such a great job doing it. But this video is called I call it No Jessica
No,
because
Jessica.
of the commentary. But this tickled me, and I want to share with you guys. I hope you guys get the same effect that it did me. I hope it makes you laugh. I hope it brightens up your day. Maybe you're having a bad day, and hopefully this will brighten it up. So with that said, thank you again for joining us. We'll see you in the next one. You guys have a great weekend. Stay safe out there and be the best you can be. With that said, good night. Good night, Kyle.
Bye, guys.
See you guys. See you. Here we go.
Oh, what a nice day. Look at Jessica. Jessica, what are you doing? You know you can't swim. Get away from the water, Jessica. Jessica, get away from the... Oh, my God. Somebody help Jessica, please. She can't swim. Go help Jessica, run. Jesus Christ. Jessica, no. Oh, my God. No, Jessica. No. The water is pulling her back in. Where's the lifeguard? Lifeguard, hurry up! She can't swim! Jessica, no! Jesus! Jessica, Jessica. Lifeguard, please save her! Yes, 2 lifeguards! Save her, no! Please, Jessica. Oh, look, hey, that husband is coming. Oh, do one of them dead. Jessica. Ah! Hey, please, save her. Jessica, they're coming now. They're here, Jessica.